and then I'm just on a weird day where I'm being shut down. But if this works, it sort of proves like on the last video, I did something I don't normally do, which is put the link to the band page, www.the-bilderberg, group.com, which the link by the time you're watching this after the fact will be in the description. But if I put that in the description beforehand, those videos don't tend to do as well. And for the first time, I had done a scheduled video to see how that would work out, and that I got one. So we'll see what happens. Now I have my one like, no viewers again, but let's see what happens. I made it 20 minutes into the last video and had one viewer. For somebody that's had many thousands of viewers in the past couple days, forgive me if I think that's weird, but I think that's weird, and I restarted. So what we are doing today is talking about Hollywood. I know I keep telling you guys I'm going to talk about Hollywood, and then I get dragged into the Jews are bad conversation, which is very, very prominent and very necessary and very obvious, and something we should be talking about. And I think that's actually sort of what we will talk about when talking about the Hollywood history. We undoubtedly are going to expose the jewelry of it. But I just want to see what happens here. I'm conducting these experiments to see how this works. I'm fascinated by what it takes to to go viral, to be able to find an argument. It's amazing how insanely difficult it is to find an argument, an intelligent argument. I can find a lot of stupid arguments usually. Maybe not today, but usually I can. People saying stupid things, wanting attention, whatever. We can give you that attention if you really, really want it that bad. But I would so much prefer if intelligent people would come in and tell me what I'm getting wrong. It's really, really simple. Just tell me what I'm getting wrong. And explain it. Explain it. Don't just say you're wrong. Say you're wrong because. You're wrong about this because of this. That would be so much easier. And if you're interested in the submarine conversation, understand I've put in a lot of effort. I'm actually proud of myself. I've put in a lot of effort over the past couple of weeks, basically trying to prove submarines are real. Let's talk about why black people over believe in Christianity. Let's talk about why black people over the world. I mean, when we're talking about black people and race issues, this again always comes back to the Jews. This idea of racism, this idea of black people being Christians is just about the dumbest thing. As stupid as religion is, as stupid as Christianity is, and how stupid you have to be a Christian, to be a black Christian, especially a black female Christian, that's just, and those are the worst. The black female Christians, the big fat ones, those are the worst ones. One of the best stories ever is my wife and I had to do something downtown, like in the hood at Denby High School. And we had to ride the bus because our car was busted down. Yet the Simpsons predicted it again with Paul versus Tyson. What did they fucking predict? Paul versus Tyson was a work. If you fell for that, you were worked. I'm happy that happened for Tyson. Made a bunch of money, didn't get hurt. Jake Paul is nothing but class for doing that. Did you guys know that the Paul brothers are part Jewish? Maybe that explains why they were allowed to be so popular and become billionaires, doing the same thing everybody else did. Anyway, we had to ride the bus, and we're sitting there, and this fat black chick is sitting right in front of us, on the seat in front of us, and she turns and she looks, And you can see her sizing up the situation. She looks at me. She looks at my wife. She looks at me. She looks at my wife. And she goes back and forth a couple of times. And you could see what was happening. Like you could tell it was about to happen. So finally, she figures like I should probably talk to the female because the guy's smiling in a weird way. So I'm not going to engage on this. So she turns and she says to my wife, "Have you been saved, or are you covered in the blood of Jesus?" I think. Are you covered in the blood of Jesus? This is how this woman starts the conversation, and she proceeds to talk about how she speaks. Do you speak in tongues? And she's talking to my wife about all this shit. And I'm just like, I'm laughing. I'm looking over and I'm laughing. And she looks over at me and I'm like, no, no. And because my wife's the nice one, who won't be like, are you crazy? Get the fuck out of my face. What are you talking about? She let her do it. And I was just one of those funny situations. Like, that's how Christians are. You start a conversation with, are you covered in the blood of Jesus? Ew, no. That's disgusting. What are you talking about? But the whole idea of black people, like everything that has to do with black people.
How do you get covered in the blood of Jesus? What steps do you have to take to get covered in the blood of Jesus? Can somebody answer that for me?
I didn't realize that was a thing in the Bible. Right? Like, I don't remember the part where Jesus was like, all right, come here, and like split it and then poured his blood all over the people. Like, where did that even come from? And I've heard other people say it since.
Oh yeah, no, it's been
during COVID. You know, I'm covered in the blood of Jesus.
I had a lady that was defending me at Tropical Smoothie Cafe when I was being attacked by all the customers. I had one lady defend me, saying, honey, I ain't worried about you. I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. Oh, good, you're safe.
I mean, at least you got to give her credit.
She was defending me.
Well, no, not just that, but she's at least consistent. All these Christians out there that believe their prayers and all that, I was protecting them. As soon as something came around, they were like, oh shit, I'm no longer safe. And their churches closed the doors and shit.
I didn't have a mask on.
What's funny about that scenario is my wife's this little 5'2", 90-pound nothing. And men and women, more like a bunch of times, decided to engage her and attack her for not wearing a mask.
The man in Kroger was the worst.
Do you know how many times that happened to me? Not a one. Now, she did a lot more shopping and whatnot than I did at the time.
Yeah, I did all the going out and shopped for the elderly neighbors, but...
I wouldn't say all of the going out. I went out as well. But nobody ever decided to attack me.
Remember?
You did most of it, yes, but nobody ever did that shit to me. It's interesting how people, who deem themselves to be better than and higher than thou, that they would.
He's a big scary guy. That's too much trouble. He might hit me.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, it's just interesting how men, women, whatever, would attack a woman like that.
Oh, they were nasty.
And in the mob mentality that comes around, it's really interesting. It's scary.
I couldn't believe the amount of people standing around me.
Did you see the video I tagged you in?
Yeah.
It's over, guys. I want you guys to see this. This is the scariest shit I've ever seen. I mean, this is literally what I've been telling you guys is going to happen for quite some time now, but I've just been waiting for it. But here you go, man. Here's your doom. These are the robot dogs that I've been... This is what I've been worried about. Look at them running up the stairs like it's nothing. So my question is always, suddenly you hear some noise, you hear over the speaker, ladies and gentlemen of whatever town you're in or whatever, please don't grab anything, none of your possessions or anything like that, and come out front. We are going to be collecting everyone and moving you to a new location. We do not have the capacity to move all your stuff, but it will be protected because we will be patrolling the area after we leave. So just understand that this is a temporary, or whatever they want to say, this is a thing. We need you guys to come outside and surrender to the, surrender to the system. And you look out your window and you see a semi iRobot style unload a whole bunch of these dogs, several of which have machine guns attached to them or something along those lines. They're a bunch of different variations. Some have nets, some whatever. Imagine, how many people do you think, like, how many times would you have to see that maybe somebody, that the crazy guy in your neighborhood, you hear a gunshot and you see one of those little dog things go bink and just, nothing happened to it. But suddenly a swarm of those dogs goes running up to the house, kicks, busts the door through, and you see that person being drug out. You hear some gunshots, you hear whatever, and then you see that person being drug out. How many different times, how many times do you have to see that before you're going to surrender as you were supposed to begin with? This is the scariest shit to me. You're YOUR the crazy guy in the hood. The crazy guy in the hood, what? Do you tell a person that a person is part Jew, part German, Italian, Irish, and they say, what are you talking about? They're not a Jew. Well, they have Jew heritage. No. There's Jewish beliefs, but people don't say I'm part Christian, part German, part blah. They don't do that. Jew is not a place. Jew is an idea and it's a belief structure. Now, there are those people that are ethnically Jewish, whatever that is. They're very identifiable.
But it's still just a religion.
Right. It's still just a belief structure. Those people don't have to be the pieces of shit they are. Any one of those people with their Jew faces and their Jew look and their goofy hair and their penguin suit, any one of those people could be like, no, I don't do any of this. This shit's stupid. I don't believe in supremacy by any means. This is dumb. It's just like, it's the same thing as like a Christian who goes atheist or whatever. Like, isn't it strange how few Jews you see in that category?
I can't imagine being like somebody like Greg. Like, he used to make nasty comments about Jews all the time, and he had to live in David's house with the Orthodox.
But that's probably why. That probably contributed to it. He was forced into a situation where he was surrounded by it. And being in that situation and being surrounded by it, he didn't innately learn this overwhelming need to protect.
And he also associated with his father killed himself, his mother.
I don't care. I'm just saying he didn't experience what it's like to be in the Jew world and go, hey guys, these people are great. No, they've welcomed me in. They've treated me like one of their own. I've never felt different. All I ever see is love. They're always helping people. They're always reaching. He doesn't say that shit.
They took a 5-year-old's Christmas tree away from him suddenly and was like, here's a menorah. We don't do Christmas anymore. These kids that get,
Yeah, but that's, you know what?
That's traumatizing.
I guess. I mean, by the point when that happened, he should have long been over the Santa thing. And when you
He's five.
realize,
Back
oh
then,
right,
5 years
five,
old.
no, five, right. But even still, at the end of the day, if you're gonna pick which one you want to be, it's Jew. You know, yeah, you're gonna get some toys and shit for Christmas growing up, but that 13 bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, that is a money grab, boy. That's way worth more than the Christmas presents that Christians get or non-Jews get. Jew is not a religion. They have a direct blood lineage to Judea. Well, you're spelling it wrong. To Judah, and that you're Judah. They are part of the tribe of Judah. Says who? The Jews? Like when you start talking about that shit, you're just talking fairy tale nonsense. It's all fairy tale nonsense that somebody's either going to choose to believe or not believe.
It's a man-made story.
Right. So instead of let's try to use some man-made fictional past as this foundation for our beliefs, why don't we like talk about right now? Why should you right now get Semitism? Why should Semitism exist? Which is the belief or predisposition favorable to the Jews. So why should we give you favor? And most Jewish people are actually atheists. No, they just don't believe in the God, devil, heaven, hell narrative like dumb Christians do. What's funny is most Jews think Christians are fucking stupid. They think your belief structure is stupid. You know the belief that has the Jews, who are the bad guys in the Bible, has them as the God's chosen people? Yeah, the Jews think you're stupid. I love this person saying, I'm outside. Sure you are. And again, if you're so inspired by what I'm saying that you've come to my house and that you're obviously angry, why don't you make any reasonable points? Why do you keep pointing to the fact that you're really stupid and you're totally outmatched and you can't come up with anything intelligent to say, or you would, obviously if you feel that need to comment so desperately that you end up making yourself look stupid, if you could come up with something better, you would. But you just keep proving how stupid you guys are. This whole Jew narrative, it really needs to stop. But let's go into the Hollywood thing, because what I started talking about here, so I thought this was fantastic, and I deviated from my conversation just a little bit. This is called the Long Wharf, WARF, Santa Monica. Give me a valid reason why submarines aren't real. Yep. They trick Christian people into worshiping their God Yahweh. They tricked Christian people into worshiping them. The Christians worship them. That's just fucking amazing. And I mean, again, Abraham, these are Abrahamic religions. Both Christians, Muslims, all three actually. Christians, Muslims, and Jews are Abrahamic religions. Abraham is the father of the Jewish people. Meaning, all three are Jewish religions. It's it's remarkably stupid. And yet people fall for it. You can't reason with a crazy drug addict. Point. Yeah. So you're just here then to what? I'm here to make fun of you because that makes me feel better. Even though you're making me look stupid, I'm here to make fun of you. Like this is the best I get. It's always it's just interesting. I mean, I don't even know, like, don't you guys think that's weird? Don't you think it's weird that people would come to a feed where people are talking about actual shit and the opposition, if you will, doesn't talk about what's being said, just talks about how they can't talk about what's being said. All right, can't. It's your fault. Yeah. Why is this tweaker in my live feed? That's not your live feed, doofus. Yep. Okay. The Long Wharf in Santa Monica, also known as Port Los Angeles or the Mile Long Pier. Think about this. That's this thing. This thing that holds trains and shit. It goes a mile out into the ocean. It's called trolling. No, I get it. I get that. Like, I guess from my perspective, if I was going to troll somebody, I would want to come out on top, right? I would want to look like I'm the smarter one, or, I mean, I just couldn't do the trolling thing. It's just, you know, if I wasn't doing my live, then I have a wife, I have children, I have other things to do than find people's live feeds and say stupid nonsense. But like, to me, if my trolling was beneficial to the person I'm trolling, like if the person I was trolling was like, man, I'm so glad you're here because I'm always talking about how stupid the opposition is and how I can't get anybody to actually make reasonable points that supposedly agrees with me and blah, blah, blah. That shit's a lot harder to prove when there's not a bunch of examples of it. But when you come here and you're like, no, no, I'm that stupid person. Look, everybody. Like, I appreciate the hell out of that. So I hope, please keep, no, wait, don't keep trolling me. It hurts me so much. Jesus, the wise man who was visited by 3 wise men was actually just visited by tech gurus and given Neuralink. The true story is that Jesus was trying to get people to worship technology. There is no true story. The true story is it's all fake bullshit. It's just ChatGPT, Jewish control scheme nonsense bullshit. It's a big book that says if you follow the rules set forth to you by the Jews who control your society, and you do as you're supposed to do, you live that really difficult life where you're barely getting by week to week and all that. Even though we live in a time where we have the means, technology, and resources for everyone to live a great life with no one having to work, we don't do that because the Jews don't like it that way. Like, once you start understanding all that, like, it makes it a lot easier to be against it, that's for sure.
Nathan should be in his room.
Nate, are you reading? Good job, dude. All right, so we're talking about this pier, right? You finally get the submarine there? Yep, yeah, I did. I'm Jewish and I love it. Of course you do. You're a piece of shit. And you know, when you're a piece of shit and you've been raised as a piece of shit, you believe your piece of shit stuff is real. You know? You don't care that your people are committing genocide. And you're not a goyim. You don't care. Like you believe that everything that isn't Jewish is goyim. So humans, the Gentiles, dogs, cats, beds, chairs, refrigerators, all of it's goyim. And it's all there for you guys to use it up, and then throw it away as you seem fit. And of course you think that's great because you're a piece of shit. Like, and as soon as you get to be that adult and you sort of look around and you go, wow, Jewish people are really awful. They do really awful shit and they believe really awful shit. Anyone that believes they are chosen by God from birth and everyone else is no different, and again, no different than tables and chairs and shit. None of it. We're just all here for the. If you believe that, you're a piece of shit. It's there's no way around that. If you believe in Semitism, you're a piece of shit. And go ahead and tell me what I'm wrong about. That's the thing, is like you have these dumb Jews that come in here and identify, but then they fizzle out. As soon as they realize this isn't your average goyim, who they're not going to be able to say their average couple of responses. You know, anytime you talk to Jews about anything, their first response is always going to be, oh, well, the Bible says, it's in the Bible. But as soon as you say, "Hey, wait a minute, I don't believe in that stupid shit," right? The Bible is dumb as fuck. As soon as you say that to them, they go, "Oh, well, you must be anti-Semitic." And then you go, "Okay, no. Let's get that right. I love all, all the people of that region, Palestinians, you Lebanese, Iranians, Iraqis, even the black people in northern Africa that are considered Semitic. Yeah, they're cool with me. I'm not anti-Semitic at all. I'm very proud of my anti-Semitism because I know what those words mean. I know what Semitism is. I know where it came from. I know why you guys changed the spelling in 2021. I know all of that shit. As soon as you lay it out to them that those two, like the two bullets they have in their gun, basically, that those don't work, they run away. They just run away. I mean, look at this guy. Let's see. Why are you mad because I'm the chosen one? Don't be mad about it. That's what we get. Government, I get your tax monies. Cry about it. I'm don't think I'm crying about it, but I'm glad you're dumb enough to prove my point, right? Like, this is your typical Jew attitude. For anybody that thinks I'm being harsh or I'm out of line, no one's telling this dumb Jew to come here. And this dumb Jew can't actually argue anything against what I'm saying, so fuck yeah. You can't get my Jewish gold I wear around my neck. Wouldn't want it. But the thing is, for me, what's important is cutting the head off the neck. Cutting the head off the monster. All these other distractions, these Hollywood, these chemtrails, these vaccines, all these other distractions are like the arms and the legs and whatnot, the tentacles of the monster. It doesn't matter if you cut one off; it grows back. The only way you defeat the monster is if you cut off the head. Oh, he knows me too. Explain that. What do you do with a problem like Maria? I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't care. Oh, let's see. So, the Long Wharf in Santa Monica, also known as Port Los Angeles or the Mile Long Pier, was an extensive pier wharf constructed by the Southern Pacific Railroad Company in Santa Monica Bay from 1892 to 1894, when it opened in 1894. So in 1890s, they were capable of building a wharf that could hold trains that went a mile out into the ocean. Do you know what the cars look like? How did they drive the foundations when they were out at the end? At the very end of it, there's a building there. How did they get the foundation pillars? How did they get all that shit deep down in the ocean? You're doing keep being mad. Again, you can make all the jokes you want. You're not denying anything. You can't. Flat out calling you guys the worst people on the planet, and you can't deny it. He's not crazy. He just actually does research. He do be smoking that government weed though, which is definitely modern day heroin. No, heroin is modern day heroin. This guy just said weed is modern day heroin. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, when it opened in 1894, It was the longest wharf in the world, measuring approximately 4,700 feet, 1,400 meters. Out into the ocean. Like where the waves are bad. Like it's so phenomenal to think about this. To think, how could they have done this? It served as a cargo and passenger port until 1913, and in 1919, removal of the wharf started. Why would they remove it? The wharf, the 1,000-foot tip to pier, was removed by 1915. What? It served as a cargo port and in 1919, the removal of the wharf started. The wharf, the 1,000-foot tip to pier, was removed by 1915. Do you guys just read what I read? So again, I'm gonna do it one more time. Angela, can you please just pay attention for a second? It served as a cargo and passenger port until 1913, and in 1919, removal of the wharf started. The wharf, the 1,000-foot tip to pier, the 1,000-foot tip of the 1,000-foot tip of the pier was removed by 1915. If they started
built in 1913.
No, built in 1894.
Oh, but was used in 1913, and then
until 1913, right? It was used as a cargo and passenger port, and in 1919,
removal in 1919,
removal of the wharf started.
But they took part of it off in 15. So wouldn't the removal have started in 15?
That's my question.
Or is just taking the tip off, not the removal? Is that just the circumcision of the wharf?
I don't know. I've used just the tip thing before. Please, just the tip. Come on, just the tip. Looking at flat Earth, I probably have. Why would you assume that I haven't? It's definitely drug dependent. Blah 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 blah. Even his wife is unstable. Wow. Yep, you're totally unstable.
Can you ask Nathan how he's talking to his brother from his bedroom?
Hey, Nate! Nathan! Why aren't you sitting down?
Because I wanted to play with this.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, is that yours?
Yes, actually. But
Dude, Nick? So your brother's literally had that, like he actually had that in his hands all night. So you decided to go into his room and take it, and that's okay. Okay, no, you're not. Why don't you play with anything else?
Okay. Oh, and Nate's reading Cat Kid.
Who cares what Nate's reading? He's in his room reading, right?
Yeah, but...
Okay, then leave him alone.
Mom said he was supposed to be reading The City.
Okay, well, he is. So maybe he's taking a break. I don't know, but he knows what he's supposed to be doing. You leave him alone. Child abuser. Yes. Hey, Nick. Sorry to abuse you so much. I know I'm a horrible child abuser, right?
Don't abuse me anymore, Dad.
Sorry, dude. I'm not sorry because I'm an abuser. Ha 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 ha. Mwahahaha. One day that child will hate you. I'm sure he will. Sure he will. You know why? Because I probably asked too many questions. Obviously, that makes other people mad. There are founders of each religion belief, but there isn't a founder of Vaishnavism. Yeah. There are not. You're just talking nonsense. Guys, why are you talking to each other?
Dad, I'm using something against Zeke. Nate says shut up.
Nick.
What?
You're supposed to be on the couch, right?
I know I'm grabbing something to play with.
Okay, you're supposed to be on the couch, right?
I know.
So go get on the couch and don't say anything to your brother.
I wasn't trying to say anything to my brother.
It just happened? It just worked out that way?
Zeke for a second, and
Nick, just stop talking and go do what you need to do. Get on the couch. You're not on the couch, are you? Okay, then you're doing something. The remaining 3,600 feet of the pier was used as a run-down fishing pier until 1933, when the remainder of the pier was removed. One of the major imports to the wharf was lumber from the northern ports to help in the construction boom of Southern California. Southern Pacific Railroad and the streetcars of Los Angeles Pacific Railroad served the wharf. Los Angeles Public Railroad ran passenger trams to the wharf, and from midnight to sunrise ran cargo cars. Of course they did. You're, Y-O-U-R, not a friend. You're a parent. Y-O-U-R. They supposed to hate you. Yeah, that works out well. Yeah, I bet you should hit them too, right? You should hit your kids. You should spank their butts, because as an adult, there are situations where you get in trouble and you get spanked on the butt. People are stupid, man. Like, it would be one thing if you were saying anything intelligent prior to this, that I could then be like, hey, I wonder if this person's going to say something intelligent. But you're not. We know that. Alright, parents are unselfish, but at least selfish parents are good parents to their children. Yeah, we are terrible parents to our children. You better believe that. Daily beatings, all kinds of just terrible, terrible things. Our kids are so miserable and they hate us so much. Good God. This is the type of stuff. So, again, instead of addressing anything being said, they clearly are paying attention to the video. So that's what they're, at the very least, their dumb comments prove that they're paying attention to the video. So if they're paying attention to the video, why don't they actually address the video? Why are they always looking for these little dumb things that they can make? I'm giving you so much gold. Like, I tell you submarines aren't real. I tell you the Jews are the bad guys. The Bible's not real. The earth isn't round. You name it, and I'm probably not gonna believe it. You could pick any of those things to go off on your little tantrums on. And instead you're like, oh, I'm going to talk about something that I know nothing about. Like, it's just stupid. It's crazy. You're, Y-O-U-R, not exactly splitting the atom yourself, bud.
You never claimed to.
Seriously, if you're, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, going to talk about how stupid I am, make sure you get the "you're" right. In the comment about how stupid someone else is, you should not be spelling words incorrectly. Like, it's just such a basic, it's like, come on, just basic shit. Lizard people. The lizard people thing is funny, because if you replace the lizard people with the Jews, it's literally it fits. Everything fits except for like the Anunnaki bullshit, which was all invented by a Jew who found the Sumerian tablets, which is, Israel. Sumeria. No, that's not Sumeria. That's not the West Bank. That's Sumeria, Judea. That's what we call it, the West Bank. Yeah. Like, they're just so stupid. Listen, when all you're doing, when all you contribute to this video is your comments, nobody can see you, nobody can hear you. All we have to judge you on is your comments. Yeah, your grammar probably matters. The site of the Port Los Angeles Wharf is a California historic landmark. Site number 881. Is Ann California? No, it'd be I guess it is A. The wharf was north of the current Santa Monica Pier. Today, no trace remains of the pier. No trace remains of the pier. The current site of the Long Wharf is now Pacific Palisades. and the California State Route 1 at the Will Rogers State Beach Lifeguard Headquarters. Funny, the place that it was is now a place where it's probably off limits for you. You know, the lifeguard headquarters is a place where there's probably some sort of whatever, protected area or whatever. A historical landmark and historical. See, this is always so funny to me. Why doesn't this get it right? This is supposedly the official sort of thing. Goes to show you just how unimportant proper grammar must be. And historical landmark, well, a historical landmark monument plaque is at the site, along with a few feet of track. Los Angeles lacked a natural harbor when the Southern Pacific Railroad and Collins P. Huntington wanted to create Port Los Angeles at Santa Monica. Just think about that shit. Like, it's the 1800s. We don't have power tools. We don't have, we don't have much. Modern day conveniences are not plentiful at the time. And yet, these guys, in their town that has a small population, I mean, Hollywood didn't even exist yet. In their small little town, they just go, hey, you know what? We don't really have a harbor here, so let's just build this giant wharf, for trains and shit. I mean, it's such a crazy concept. And I know, like, today you think, like, if you were to look at how they do it today they'll have, like, if they want to drive a stake into the ground, they'll have, like, this big machine that has this big, huge, hydraulic powered hammer that goes up and boom, boom, and these things take forever. It's really, how did these guys do it back then? It's just such a crazy bunch of shit, man. It's just so weird how stupid all of this is. How much faith it requires to believe any of this shit. It's fantastic. John Jones, John's Bones Jones, the founder of Santa Monica. Los Angeles Natural and Southern P. Railroad and Collins P. Huntington wanted to create Port Los Angeles at Santa Monica. Huntington partnered with Nevada Senator John P. Jones, the founder of Santa Monica, to build. So, a Nevada senator was the founder of Santa Monica to build a 1 mile long pier wharf into the Pacific Ocean just north of Santa Monica Canyon. And then you think about it, like, so all of these people, they owned all this land? They were, what were they? If they owned all this land and they were all these super powerful people, are we to just believe that at some point they were like, you know what, the government should just have all this land and property and power? Our family doesn't need to be in the history books and all that shit. Like, I mean, Huntington is probably where they named Huntington Beach after, but strange how these people sort of just disappear. Their families disappear, yet they were these hugely powerful people back then. And it's not even that long ago. The pier wharf had a double track rail track lines to move cargo and freight on and off the pier quickly. The pier jutting out into the bay was vulnerable to storms. Yeah, no shit. The long wharf diverted some shipping from San Pedro Bay as it did not have a shallow bottom like San Pedro at the time. The political power of Jones and Huntington was used to slow the start of the breakwater construction at San Pedro Bay, while they campaigned for breakwater in Santa Monica Bay. The Los Angeles Times publisher Harrison Gray Otis and United States Senator Stephen White pushed for federal support to build Port of Los Angeles at San Pedro Bay. Think about, like, how long did it take communications to get from the farthest point in California west all the way to Washington?
Walla Walla, Washington.
No, not Walla Walla, Washington. No, that was a different place. I'm talking about Washington, D.C., Washington. Walla Walla is in Washington State.
Oh. So you're talking about the different country altogether of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, the independent country that's one of three to exist. The UK, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
It does.
I love how in school, when they threw that little tidbit out,
Everybody
didn't
was like,
elaborate on it. I was like, wait, no, back up. Let's like concentrate on this. How does this happen?
well, it's
What-
really
why?
obvious too, because like when you see things like, you'll see a presidential presentation on TV, and you'll see them standing in front of flags, and those flags have the gold border around them. Well, the United States flag doesn't have a gold border around it. So what flag do they actually represent when they have a different flag than we do? You know?
But they never go into detail. They never explain any of it. They just say it.
It's the District of Columbia.
That's just it, and then they move on.
Well, wait, why is it a District of Columbia? Like, isn't that a
Shut up! It's in Virginia.
isn't that a different
and then
place?
This is where the house of the president is, and they just move on. That's it. I asked the questions. I got in trouble. They did not want to answer my questions.
They never do.
What do you mean it's a different country? No. How is it a different country? Who decided to take a state that's in the middle of the continent?
Well, it was
and
never a
just
state.
say-
It was never a state.
Well, yeah, but this little chunk of land.
This chunk of land that,
And just be like, okay, this where these lines are, this is a whole different country.
well, there is something to be said about the fact that it's like, you know, a lot of the stuff that exists today is, see, this is where Tartaria plays a big part in it, in the reset and all that stuff. A lot of the places where we have these,
Monuments and shit.
yeah, these were here. We then built the shit around what was when it was founded, because you know they liked it, so they founded it.
I suck at geography.
I know.
How close is Washington D.C. to like Virginia Beach?
Far.
It's far.
I mean, it's driving 65 miles an hour, and you have to drive 65 or 55 because Virginia. The funny thing is, Virginia is one of 13 commonwealths. That's another one of those things that you go,
Right.
wait, what are you talking about? It's not necessarily a state, it's a commonwealth.
Which is why Raven was telling me about all the crazy laws and how much
Mhm.
trouble you get in for shit.
Yeah, when I lived there, so when you're walking down by the waterfront, there'll be signs up on the side of the road, like all along the pier, that say no cursing, no spitting, no loud music, no loitering, like all these laws that you're going, wait a minute, I'm in America. Like, what are you talking about? Free speech and all that. And they're like, nope,
They
this
almost
is
took her to jail for swearing at her neighbor because her neighbor's been harassing her and they won't do anything about it. So she cursed at them and they almost took her to jail. She was on her own property. They threatened. But okay, so going back.
But that's
to
what you want. I mean, if that's literally, then you want that to happen. You want the police to do something stupid like that because that's a lawsuit. You're going to win a lawsuit.
She's Native American. They don't like her.
So what? She's still
They
going to win a
talk about
lawsuit.
shit.
And you know, they take you to jail for swearing. That's a lawsuit. You know, that's
If you
that's
get
free
caught
speech. We're in the
with,
United States.
With paraphernalia or
Weed.
marijuana.
Right. Oh, it's a
in your
big deal.
house, if you have children, you get taken to jail for child abuse. It's considered child abuse and neglect. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy there. You get caught with anything there. You get caught
She
driving.
found her
The freeways are 55, I believe. I think it's 55.
her
But it takes
son.
like, sorry, it takes like 2 hours or some shit to it maybe even longer to get from Virginia Beach all the way to Washington D.C.
Her son had come to stay with her for a weekend. He's 24, and he slept in or something. She found a pipe in his bag, like a weed pipe, a glass pipe, and she freaked the fuck out. She took it outside. She broke it. She threw it in the bonfire. It was like, and I was like, "What is the matter with you?" Because she called me. And she's like, "You don't fucking understand. You get caught with anything like that here in Virginia, and you got kids in the house because she had a minor child in the house too." She's like, "You get in so much fucking trouble in Virginia." And then she started telling me about all the crazy laws. But anyways, going back to Washington D.C. So it's not near Virginia Beach. What is it near that would make it make sense to be its own place?
Like I said,
Does it have borders? Does it have?
when they founded all of these things, they were there already. So it just made sense to form your situation or like it's just
But who decided we're going to be a different country than the United States? How? How does
because
that?
it makes it so they follow their own laws and they're not subject to the same laws that we all are.
Is
So
it
that
part of the UN? Do they have to follow like the Geneva Convention? I mean,
yeah, well, let's find out.
but geographically, there's nothing other than monuments that would make it make sense. It's not surrounded by the beach. It's not surrounded by, nothing else would make it make sense to be its own freestanding country.
Washington D.C., formerly the District of Columbia and commonly known as Washington D.C., is the capital city and federal district of the United States. A federal district
It's federal. It's
A
part of it.
federal district is a specific administrative division in one of various federations.
See, it doesn't
Is a
really.
specific administrative division in one of various federations. These districts may be under the direct jurisdiction of a federation's national government, as in the case of federal territory, e.g., India, Malaysia, or they may function as ordinary federated units, e.g., Brazil, Russia. Federal districts often include capital districts.
Yeah, that's really clear and concise. Thank you.
All right. Don't you guys get it? Doesn't it make
I
sense?
feel like I'm being talked to by the fucking history teacher again.
The seat of the U.S. federal government in Washington, the seat, the seat is a capital city or just capital, is the municipality holding primary status in a country, state, province, department, or other subnational division, usually as its seat of government. So that's, I guess, a seat. But when I clicked on seat, it said capital city. So the capital city of the U.S. federal government in Washington is located in a federal district called the District of Columbia.
Okay, so are
Wait,
they owned by Columbia?
wait. It's not in Washington. It's not in Washington State. So Washington is its own thing,
Yes.
and then D.C. is its own thing. Listen to that. So here's it again. The seat of the U.S. federal government in Washington is located in a federal district called the District of Columbia.
It's a
Other federally administered areas are within one of the 50 states, but not under its jurisdiction or are called federal enclaves. Other federally administered areas that are within one of the 50 states, but not under its jurisdiction.
So it's not an enclave. So it's under the state's jurisdiction then?
Additionally, the U.S. federal court system divides each state, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico into one or more federal judicial districts. A United States District Court and a bankruptcy court are located in each. There are also regional federal judicial circuits, each consisting of a group of states, except for the District of Columbia Circuit, which consists of the federal district and the federal court, whose jurisdiction is based on specific subject matter instead of geography.
But they handle all the court stuff in.
Puerto Rico and the United States territorial courts are also assigned to circuits. Each circuit has a United States Court of Appeals. Wow, this is
What
crazy.
other land does the District of Columbia
Imagine you
own?
and three neighbors wanted to build something overlapping all of your property. Who owned, say, the gazebo, and who cleaned it, and who maintained it, etc. It's all contains. All of what you're wrestling is the very complicated negotiations of rights between neighbors. Okay, I thought you were going to say something.
I mean, he's right, but
We're not talking about that. This isn't the same.
no. So, what other land does District of Columbia own, or is it only that one little piece?
I don't know. We'll get there. All right. The city is on the Potomac River across from Virginia and shares land borders with Maryland to its north and east. It is named after George Washington, the first president of the United States. The district is named after George Washington, the first president of the United States. The district is named after Columbia, the female personification of the nation. That's funny. When do you suppose that was built? Washington Metro. Connect that.
I've always wondered, like, how do they get
It's
the
just
upper
stupid.
part to stay up there while it's drying and not clump off and shit? I just.
It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so Washington, D.C. is yet another one of these things that, look at that, it's a perfect square.
And that's the only land District of Columbia owns? Nowhere else in the world do they have land?
That's the interactive map of Washington, D.C. I don't know what that is. That's Washington, D.C. That's not the District of Columbia, so we're going to get there. The U.S. Constitution in 1789 called for the creation of a federal district under the exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Congress. As such, Washington, D.C. is not part of any state and is not one itself. The Residence Act, adopted on July 16, 1790, approved the creation of the Capital District along the Potomac River. Like, think about who we are talking about as far as what you think the people were like. People running around with their black and their belt buckles and their tights on and their powdered wigs and the city was founded in 1791, and the 6th Congress held the first session in the unfinished Capitol building in 1800 after the Capitol moved from Philadelphia. Did you know that? The Capitol was initially in Philadelphia. Which seems like a pretty substantial move. Like Philadelphia to Washington seems pretty substantial, especially in the 1700s. But what the fuck do I know? In 1801, the District of Columbia, formerly part of Maryland and Virginia, and including the existing settlements of Georgetown and Alexandria, was officially recognized as the federal district. Initially, the city was a separate settlement within the larger district. In 1846, Congress returned the land originally ceded by Virginia, including the city of Alexandria.
It's gonna take time.
In 1871, it created a single municipality for the remaining portion of the district. There have been several unsuccessful efforts to make the district into a state since the 1880s. A statehood bill passed in the House of Representatives. I mean, this is just stupid. These are just stupid things. Designed in 1791 by Pierre Charles L'Infant. L'Infant? Pierre Charles the Infant. August 2nd, 1754 to June 14th,
As much as she can.
1825. That's what he looked like. We could make realistic paintings and shit back then, but eh.
Right. Well,
Oh, and he was a French-American artist. He was an artist himself. An artist, a professor, and a military engineer.
you guys get some rest, okay?
This guy's an artist, a professor, and a military engineer who designed the Baroque style for Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
He designed
And
Washington,
they just
D.C.,
pulled a tooth out?
the capital city of the United States. His work is known today as the L'Enfant Plan, which inspired plans for other world capitals such as Brasilia, New Delhi, and Canberra. The United States plans for Detroit, Indianapolis, and Sacramento took inspiration from the plan for Washington, D.C. Boy, that's amazing. You know what? Pedophiles, kill yourself.